Welcome to Sinful Horror Stories. Sit back, relax, stay sinful. This happened a few years ago when I was still living with my mom, and I had borrowed her car to go see my then boyfriend for the evening. It was around midnight when I got back to my neighborhood, so the roads were empty. That's when I noticed this dirty, run-down, rusted white utility van that a maintenance guy would drive, following me. I never ever saw the driver's face, but I got this immediate sinking feeling in my stomach because something felt wrong about this van. Now, I was only 20 at the time, but I knew better than to just drive straight to my house and let this person know exactly where I lived, no matter how desperately I wanted to just go home and ignore it. But I also wanted 100% sure they were actually following me yet. I didn't want to jump to conclusions just because it was late and I was alone and being paranoid. So I drove to a shopping complex a few minutes out of the way that was well lit and has a public library to see if I was followed there. I thought I lost the van but decided to wait in the parking lot for a few minutes because I had a bad feeling I just couldn't shake. Sure enough, the van showed up and was driving in random circles around the parking lot, looking for me. This scared me quite a bit, so I drove towards the big mall here that's always got security and a police presence, because it was the midway point between where I was and where I lived. I parked in a pretty well-lit 24-hour McDonald's parking lot where I had a great view of the roads in the mall, but I wasn't super easy to spot, and waited to see if the van showed up looking for me. Of course, this would be the one time security and the cops are nowhere to be found, which was half the reason I decided to head there in the first place. Realizing whoever was driving this van was 100% actively following me in the middle of the night, I knew just driving home was not an option. That's a terrifying realization. Luckily, the police station is just a few minutes away from where I was, so I try and discreetly drive away, hoping the van hasn't seen me yet. I wasn't that lucky, because it wasn't long before the van was back in the rearview mirror. At this point, I'm panicking very hard and my anxiety is high. I finally pulled into the police station parking lot. Seconds later, the van came to a stop in the middle of the road for no more than a few seconds. I'm guessing just long enough for them to realize where I led them. They took off immediately, and so fast. I did make it home safe and without seeing the van again. Not long after, this whole ordeal took up at least an hour of my night. It was after 1 a.m. by the time I made it home, and I was terrified the whole time. I don't know what this guy's specific intention was, but honestly, I don't need to know. I know it was nothing good and I likely avoided a very bad situation. If you think someone is following you, it's not stupid or paranoid to make sure you aren't right. Who knows what might have happened if I had led them to my house or gotten out of the car. I'm an 18-year-old female. I have a baby face and I'm quite short, so it's easy to mistake me for a 13 to 15-year-old. I tend to wear baggy clothes as well, which covers a lot of my curves, making me look even younger. I take my brother on a walk in the mornings for exercise and fresh air. I live in a pretty safe area and police regularly patrol. This particular day I was wearing exercise clothes instead of my baggy clothes, and the fact my hair is bright blue also tends to cause attention. I notice a stereotypical white van driving up the street. There's a couple in my area because there's some local businesses, but their windows aren't tinted. The van gets slower as it gets closer to me. I can see the window starting to roll down when I quickly pretend I got a phone call and answer loudly. "Hey, Mom. Yes, I took Gabe for a walk. I'll be home in 5. Soon as I pretended to answer my phone, the van sped off. I've been a stay-at-home mom since 2012. This fall, my youngest started kindergarten. I have 2 girls. It was mid-morning and both my girls are at school, and I'm laying on my bed reading a book. I can see through my open window, through the living room to the hallway that leads into the girls' room, their bathroom, and their playroom. I hear a noise and look up to see a middle-aged white man with blue gloves walk in my garage. I freeze, not knowing what to do. I know my bug man. This is not him, and the guy didn't knock. He immediately heads down the hallway that is just by my children's room. I call my husband. I have no idea why I didn't call 911. My husband calls the police and his brother, who lives 2 minutes away. He must have gone to the playroom because maybe a minute has gone by. I'm going for a weapon and I hear my dog start to growl. She sleeps under my girl's bed during the day. So I yell, "Here, Belle." The man comes out to the right where the garage door is at the front of the hallway, and my lab Belle runs to me in the room. He stutters out, "No one is supposed to be home." And I say my husband is on his way now. He mutters something as he exits the garage. I'm totally freaking the fuck out, but I get up and grab a weapon and chase the man outside. There's no car. He's gone. And my brother-in-law and the police pull up at the same time, not a minute after the guy made his exit. I told him I was fine. Maybe he was a bug man who got the wrong house. The police didn't pass a bug man vehicle on the way in the neighborhood. We have one entrance to the neighborhood. That's when it hit me. The gloves he was wearing. They were the blue dental gloves my husband brings home from his office for me to clean with. They sit on a table right beside the garage door before you walk in. I ran back and checked my girl's room, and then to the back playroom. The playroom window had been unlocked on both sides. I know it was the man because it had been extremely hot weather for weeks, and I kept all the windows shut, locked, and blinds closed. The blinds were open as well. So to the man who I'm pretty sure was setting up a way to kidnap my daughters, let's not meet. I like two things in the summer: classic cars and night cruises. This happened in June or July of last year when I was driving at night. It was about 2 a.m. when I was driving in a wooded area near my hometown. I'm driving this big 70s land yacht listening to 70s tunes when I noticed reflectors on a sedan ahead. The sedan was a late 90s, early 2000s white Ford. It was on the westbound shoulder pointed east. Its passenger door was wide open and it looked abandoned. I pulled over and stopped about 40 feet in front of the sedan. I muted my music and listened out my window for anyone. I could only hear the sounds of nature in my car engine. As I sat, I thought about how this could be a major event that I stumbled upon, like a crime scene or something of that nature. After mulling it over, I got out to investigate after I turned on my car's high beams. The forest was illuminated, showing a figure by the side of the road. "Hello?" I said in a friendly but affirmative voice. "Why'd you stop?" shouted the man by the side of the road. His voice was confused and angry. "I thought that someone may need help," I replied. "Your car looks like it had some trouble." "What makes you say that?" the guy asked as he started walking towards me. "It's parked with its door open in the road. It looks abandoned," I said, standing still. "Why are your high beams on?" he said as he pulled out a long object. "To illuminate the forest," I said as I backed behind my headlights, making sure that the lights would block my face. "I got a flashlight here that can illuminate the forest and your pretty face," he said as he turned on the flashlight and shined it in my face. That was the moment that I noped out of there. I flung open my door, jumped and slammed on the gas pedal. Never seen that man again. This happened at 4:15 a.m. this morning. My husband was out last night with his friends. I was home alone and with our son and 2 dogs. I was passed out, of course, and my doorbell rang. The dog started barking like crazy. I approached the front door very quietly and did not turn on any lights. My doorbell rang again while I was walking down the hallway. I looked out the half window at the top of my door, and all I could see was the top of a gray hooded sweatshirt. The person had their neck bent at a very low angle. I backed away and tried to call my husband to see if it was him and maybe his phone was dead. It rang more than once, so I know that that was not the case. The person hit the doorbell again, and I ended up calling 911 because I didn't want to get murdered. It would have been a tad inconvenient. I realized I had no details to offer them besides the light gray hooded sweatshirt, and the person was probably around 5'7". The person eventually left, and I realized there were multiple police cars down the street. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe for future content. Send your true scary stories to thesinfulsavant@gmail.com. Until we meet again, stay sinful.